Now, the last two questions here are also on Aristotle. Number 5 reads, discuss what Aristotle means by moral virtue or virtue of character. Right? So that's book 2 of the Nicomachean Ethics. So the first part of this question, I just want a discussion of generally what Aristotle means by virtue of character. And second part of the question, Aristotle adds 3 requirements to this treatment on page 22, right, of your book, or of your copy of the Nicomachean Ethics here. And I don't just want a list of the 3 requirements, but a discussion of each, right? How are these requirements on moral virtue requirements of moral virtue? Why would Aristotle argue that these are necessary elements? Right? So, because in each further understanding of moral virtue or virtue of character emerges. So, now finally, number 6, in book 3 of the Nicomachean Ethics, and I want you to be sort of careful with this one, Aristotle makes a distinction between what he calls the non-voluntary and what he would consider properly involuntary. He starts book 3 off by saying that virtue is a state that we praise and vice is a state that we blame, right? Praise and blame only make sense in a context in which we can be held responsible. Then he argues that responsibility is only for the voluntary. And then he defines sort of annoyingly the voluntary by what it's not. He defines 2 kinds of involuntary action. Now, that's not actually what I'm asking you for here. That's a pretty simple set of definitions. What Aristotle wants you to do is, on the second page of book 3 of the Nicomachean Ethics, towards the bottom to the top of the third page, he makes sort of a wacky distinction between non-voluntary and involuntary action. And right in there, if you follow the asterisks at the end of one of those sentences, there is an extremely valuable sort of footnote that'll help explain this position as well. So discuss this distinction. So I want the non-voluntary involuntary distinction, and that's not the voluntary involuntary distinction that he starts off by. And then I want you to discuss why Aristotle would find it necessary to make such a distinction, and that's where the footnote will start to be handy with you. Now, in terms of answering these questions, be sure to break the questions down into what I'm asking you to do, right? Because each one of these questions is more of a topic than a question, right? So number 1, I ask you to do like 4 things, right? So break it down into those 4 things and make sure they're done. When I'm grading these, I'm going to be grading these out of 5 points for sort of clarity, sufficiency, correctness, the weight of your argument if you present one or if I ask you to present one, that sort of thing. Right. In terms of grading philosophy, it's not like mathematics where you have to get the right answer, right? Though seriously, we are talking about a particular argument, and if you claim Socrates argues X, and Socrates doesn't argue X at all, right, but something radically distinct from X, correctness comes into play. But frequently I'll be asking you to either trace, evaluate, or make arguments of your own, right? And those arguments present reasons in support of the conclusions that they're attempting to sort of defend with those reasons, right? So I can and do evaluate your arguments based on the weight of support given by your reasons, right? If you're presenting arguments, be sure to think of and respond to potential counter-arguments. And this is the meat and potatoes of philosophy, right? Philosophy happens in terms of arguments. I'm going to be evaluating your arguments, you're going to be evaluating the arguments at hand. So this is sort of how we cut our teeth on it. The due date is January 31st, 2010 by noon. And you'll be submitting your responses to Moodle. I know Moodle messes up sometimes, and from time to time you're not able to respond to the Moodle module for the exam. If that happens, you will, of course, email me at yoakum@oakland.edu. And at that email address, what I'll do is I'll respond via Moodle and give you your grade that way. The last note that I've got on the exam here is please submit your responses by the above date and time to Moodle either in .doc, .docx, or .txt format. This is because frequently I have formats submitted to me that I can't open. I can't open them at the work computer. My girlfriend's Apple can't open them. Neither of my home computers can open them. I've got a lot of software programs, but these are the restrictions I'm placing on you. I've had sort of the Apple clone of Microsoft Word submitted to me as well. I can't open that either, right? So I'm modern with the new version of Microsoft Word, .txt, or the few of you, I wouldn't expect you to, but if you have a PDF writer, I can open PDFs too, because Adobe's a free download. So be sure to get it to me in a response that I can, in fact, read by the due date above. And the other thing is that today at 5, from 5 till 6, I have office hours at Oakland University. If you're stumped on any of this, please feel free to call me. I'm extension 3301. So that's 248-370-3301. I can be reached there today. In addition to this, I'm available by email. I've been trying to stay on top of my emails. I'm sorry if I've missed any, just because of the high volume of email that's part and parcel to this teaching arrangement that we have here. More or less, that's the exam. I hope you find it acceptable. All right, cheers.